Hello, everybody. Welcome, 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 Marvel Cinematic Universe movie fans. It's myself, T. Will, my guy Jordan Burton, with his Saints hat on. Anyway, how are you today, sir? All well?
I'm doing great. A little under the weather, but nothing some Dayquil couldn't fix. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm glad the Dayquil is helping you out. And trust me, buddy, as you get older, there's some other aches and pains, and I hope you can avoid all of that, Jordan. But anyway, man, hey, we're here today to talk about Thor: The Dark World. And I gotta be honest, first time I saw this movie, I hated it, Jordan. I hated this movie. But I'm beginning to realize that as we go through this process, there's so much more to a movie than just the main character, just Marvel, just the overarching theme of what this movie is connected to. There's the movie in and of itself. There's the film in and of itself. They're the characters, protagonist, antagonist, the struggle within of the hero. Um, and in the spirit of that, when I went back and rewatched this, I enjoyed it a lot more. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say. I know that this movie went up for me in ratings probably about 20 to 30%. Again, not a 10, but I enjoyed it thoroughly more this time when I watched it than I did prior to it. So, with all the things, hey, let's get to it. So, this movie had an impossible task. It had to follow the Avengers without feeling like a step backward. And you know what? Maybe that has something to do with it because I believe this was the first movie right after the Avengers.
Hmm.
And it's like, how do you come off of that into this, right? And so years later, being removed from that high of the Avengers, right? Being removed from that, oh, this is great. What will they do next? What? Thor the Dark World. What you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And just looking at the film on the strength of its own merits, it was a lot better. On the rewatch, Thor the Dark World isn't about gods or villains. It's about grief, responsibility, and choosing duty when love is taken away. Um, And I guess my question to you is Thor the Dark World the MCU's most misunderstood sequel or weakest link in phase two? Give me your thoughts on that one, Jordan.
I definitely think it's the weakest link of Phase Two. Um, I mean, it's here's the issue. You follow up the Avengers. Not only do you follow up the Avengers, but in Phase Two you also have Guardians of the Galaxy. You have Captain America: The Winter Soldier,
Right.
all in the same vicinity as Thor: The Dark World,
Yeah.
and everybody loves Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is like a cult classic. It's hard to even put that term for that movie, but
Hmm.
I'm sure 10, 15 years down the road we're going to be saying that about Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, and 3.
Hmm.
Um, just because they're different. They're a different section of Marvel. And then you have Captain America: The Winter Soldier. There are people who believe that's the best Marvel movie ever.
I
Um,
love Captain
and
America the Winter Soldier.
I don't feel the same as those people. I love the movie, but I won't go that far. I think stylistically it's one of the best ever. But I won't go that far. Which I can't wait for us to get to the Winter Soldier because I love Captain America. I love that movie. But I won't go that far. Um, but yeah, I mean, you got Thor: The Dark World, and like Iron Man 3 kind of has issues, but there's still the charisma of Robert Downey
Yeah.
Jr.
Yeah.
involved in that.
Yeah.
This does feel like the Incredible Hulk is the black sheep of Phase One. This
Hmm.
is the black sheep of Phase Two.
That's
It's
fair.
just I mean, it's called Thor: The Dark World. It is a very dark tone compared to everything else. It's a very depressing movie at times.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, there's a lot of death involved,
Hmm.
and I it is misunderstood, I think, because when you look at this movie as a whole, you get more Asgard, you get more background on just Odin and Thor and Loki. Not as much as necessarily the first movie, but you're more involved in Asgard as a whole in this movie. And that's what I do like about this movie a lot. I think this movie had a villain problem. And I just don't think the villain was very good. I think this was probably the one this an argument could be made this was the worst villain in all of the MCU movies. Just
Are you gonna
because
call
not
him a
because
mustache twirler? Is this where we're going?
I wouldn't even call him a mustache twirler. I mean, like, he just wanted to make the universe dark, and I'm like, okay, I can't like, I don't understand what your philosophy is behind. Like, I can't understand. I've watched this movie so many times, and I
Hmm.
don't understand the philosophy behind it. Um, so, and yeah, this is our first. This is the stepping stones to building the Infinity Stones. We get the Soul Stone, or not the Soul Stone, the Reality Stone in this movie as like I don't know, like a liquid almost. It's
The
the
ether.
most it's not, well, something can't be the most unique, but the it is, out of all the stones, it definitely is unique compared to the rest. Um, but it's just, this movie does a lot, and but I don't think it impacts the rest of the MCU all that much outside of the Infinity Stone. So, and that's how I used to view this movie a lot. I used to be like, you can skip Thor: The Dark World. Oh, the only thing you need to know is that it introduces an Infinity Stone. That's really it.
Hmm.
But just going back, I think it's it's not as bad as I initially thought. Like, I
Hmm.
had this a really low rating for a
Hmm.
very long time, but we've also gotten a lot worse projects over the last since like 2020 post Endgame,
Yep.
and
The Eternals.
I I can't wait for us to get to the Eternals. Uh, um,
I'm gonna be drunk. Oh boy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
um, but like, we've gotten a lot worse projects, and I'm like, things could be worse. And that's why I'm like, this isn't as bad. It's not great, but it's not as bad as it could be.
Okay, that's fair.
And in my opinion, it's not even the worst Thor movie.
Mm. Well, I can't wait to get to Love and Thunder and
Yeah. I
Ragnarok.
haven't watched I haven't watched Thor: Love and Thunder since it debuted on Disney Plus.
Well, I know which one is yours.
Um and I'm I thought about that movie, every time I think about that movie, I get sick because I'm like, I don't know how you follow up Ragnarok and Endgame with that.
Mm.
And I was never a fan of the way Taika
Was that by T?
Waititi
That was by Taika, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I was never a fan of how he was portrayed in Ragnarok, even though everybody else liked it. I have very strong opinions. I loved Thor Ragnarok when it first came out. I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. In my opinion, that is the best Thor movie, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's it's not that's not hard to do because I don't think any of the other Thor movies are great. I think they're good at best.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but and this I just think because it's the best Thor movie, it gets put on this high pedestal. But when you go back and rewatch it, you're like, this isn't as good as like the first time I saw it.
Mm.
Or like
So you're saying it doesn't age well?
it doesn't age well at
It
all.
aged like
Um,
milk and not wine. All
yeah.
right.
So I can't wait for us to get the Ragnarok too. I mean, I love the score. There are some things Taika Waititi does well, but then he cranked it up to 1,000 when he did Love and Thunder, and you ruined Christian freaking Bale
Mm.
as Gore the
The
God
God
Butcher.
Butcher, yeah.
The only reason he took that offer was because his kids wanted him to be in a Marvel movie.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Um, I love Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I absolutely.
Hmm.
I can watch that movie 8 times a year.
Hmm.
Speaking of the score, the song Captain America, and I'm just gonna tell you, I play it once a week. I love it. It's great.
Hmm.
It's my workout music. I love it. There, I'm a nerd. I said it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love everything about that movie. I love the scenes. I love it when he's escaping on a motorcycle and he does whatever he does, jumps over the ship or whatever. Like I love that movie. I love Bucky in that movie. All the cool stuff comes out. He meets Sam in that movie. Like Captain America: The Winter Soldier is my one of my top. It's got to be in my top two of movies not named the Avengers. They have to be in my top two. And then Captain America: Civil War. To me, the Captain Americas are the best singular, even though most of them are not singular, but they're the best singular hero stories in this
Yeah,
10-year trek to me.
I agree.
Um,
In fact, when I over after our last review, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and look at my ratings for all the individual franchises
mhm,
throughout the MCU,
mhm,
and uh, I believe Captain America was the highest for me. Either
yeah,
that or Guardian. It was that or Guardians of the
of the
Galaxy.
galaxy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't a big fan of Guardian of the Galaxy too. Now, here's the thing:
Yeah.
when I
Neither
go
was
back and
I.
watch it, it may be different. Okay, I
It's
didn't like the concept of, because I wasn't really aware of the Eternals in the comics. Now that I know that an
yeah.
Eternal is basically mates with the planet, I get the concept now. But upon watching it for the first time, I was like, what? So,
Yeah,
it
and
may be different when I go back and
Guardians
time.
Guardians 1 and 3 really carry it for
Yeah,
me because
they
I have
were good.
really
Well,
high
1 and 3, yeah,
scores.
they were good. Two was
Yeah.
kind of like, what the hell, man? But
Yeah.
again, Captain America definitely the darling for me. This movie was released in 2013. It was directed by Alan Taylor, produced by Kevin Feige. It was a budget of 170 million. It made 644 million worldwide. I tell you what, man, these Marvel movies generated some income. Um, MCU Phase 2, film number 2. After saving Earth and the Avengers, Thor returns to the universe that refuses to stay in balance. Um, the Nine Realms are destabilized following Loki's attack on Earth. Thor works to restore order while Loki sits imprisoned in Asgard. Jane Foster is infected by the Ether, an ancient force tied to the Dark Elves led by Malekith, who seeks to plunge the universe back into darkness. Thor must choose between obeying Asgard's laws or trusting Loki and sacrificing everything for the woman he loves. The cost of that choice changes Thor forever. What's this movie really about? Thor: The Dark World is about loss, not conquest, not heroics, loss. Thor doesn't become a better fighter in this movie, he becomes a better king in waiting. This is a story of a man learning that power doesn't protect you from grief. And that is 100% true. Now let's take a step back. And you and I talked about this off camera, but one of the things that stuck out to me about this, in the first scene you see, what's Odin's father's name? Oh, I can't think of it.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
don't remember his name.
Odin's dad. Well, he
Yeah.
talks about Malekith wanting to. So Malekith essentially wants to turn the universe into darkness, right?
Hmm.
Because obviously, like all great villains, he's a bit of a narcissist, and he wants everyone to share the same existence as him. Not really on a grand scale of villainy, but whatever. We'll go with it. Um, But Thor's Odin's dad shows up, and they have guns. That they have advanced weaponry, and it would appear that it would be more of it advanced than what Thor and Odin have, which kind of threw me because I'm like, why don't you guys use this now? Because the scene directly after that, they're on this other realm and they're having sword fights, and I'm like, this would be over so much quicker. You know what I mean? So the contrast to me was kind of funny because I'm like, okay, whatever. But anyway, the thing that kind of struck out to me, and this is just big picture. Why did the ether choose Jane of all people? Was it just cosmic circumstance? Was it like, why did the ether specifically? Those kids had been going there every day, right? They didn't, Jane Foster knows nothing about it. Why did it choose her? And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
I mean, why did the Mind Stone choose Wanda? It's one of those things that
Wanda
like
was hot, damn it. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm just saying.
um it's one of those things that like you have it's just divine fate. Like um it's one of those things that just it chose her because it was the path that she was on. Um, I think a lot of and I'm curious when we get to Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars how certain past of events were purposely led into certain moments. Because like if I mean, you think about it, like if Tony Stark didn't get like attacked in I forget what country he was in the Middle East, then he wouldn't become Iron Man.
Right,
If this goes same thing goes with like Wanda. If Wanda did have powers, but the Mind Stone unlocked those powers, and
right,
without the Mind Stone, she wouldn't have had those powers unlocked.
right.
And without the Mind Stone, we would have never gotten Vision, and without both of them we don't get WandaVision. So it's like it's this path that they're on. And like I what's interesting to me, I've always thought this is my like head canon, and I don't bring this up very often, but my thought is that the reality stone in this movie, going into Jane, is what causes her cancer in Thor Love and
That's
Thunder.
the same thought I had.
Yeah.
That
I
get out of my head. That is the exact same thought I had as I rewatched this yesterday. Because when I
yeah.
watched it the first time, I was watching it, but I was working. You know what I mean? My process for this, I typically watch it 3 times, minimum of two. So I watched it the first time Monday or Tuesday. Well, not the first time, but the first time since the last time I saw it. And then I sat down and watched it yesterday, uninterrupted. And the first thought I had, literally, when she gets infected was, I bet this led to her cancer. Because she even says in the movie,
Hey, can we pause for one
sure,
quick moment?
sure.
Yeah.
And we are back. So yeah, that was like my thought. Because they even say in the movie, when they bring her to Asgard, when Thor brings her to Asgard, and the medical team is examining her, the lady says to, I don't know if it was to Thor or Frigga or Lady Sif or whoever, but she says, "There's no way she's gonna be able to survive this. What this energy is gonna do to her body, right?" Which could have been foreshadowing for
Hmm.
Thor: Love and Thunder. So
Yeah.
we that spot on there because
Hmm.
that occurred to me yesterday. But anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
And no, I mean this. I there's parts of Thor: Love and Thunder that I'm like, this movie could have been great.
Mm-hmm.
Like this movie could have been better than Ragnarok,
Mm-hmm.
and it just was not at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's the problem with Thor is like there's different ways you can go about his character, and in my opinion, how he's approached in these two movies is the best way to do him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what Ragnarok does well is like there's more of a story and a plot that
Yeah.
Ragnarok has that keeps you emotionally invested in it.
Yeah.
That's something the first two don't have. So you need to write him like an Asgardian,
Mm-hmm.
like the first two, but also be willing to connect it to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The humor in that movie is what stands out to me.
yes,
Right. That
that's,
movie was more, even though it was Thor, it was Asgardian, but it was funny.
yes.
Um, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Um, but like, hang on. But like, I don't. Love and Thor, Love and Thunder. It's so frustrating. Thor, Love and Thunder is so frustrating. Because I have to bring that up because after I saw Thor and Love and Thunder, the first time I saw it, and I was like, I don't know if this is uh better or worse than the Dark World.
Mm-hmm.
And on rewatch, I was like, no, this is definitely worse than the Dark World. This is
Mm-hmm.
definitely worse. Um, because there are parts of it that I'm like, oh my god, like they're doing the whole Jane cancer storyline and stuff. Um, and I was so invested in that part of the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I'm like she was going through a lot during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And when that movie came out, my mom had gotten diagnosed with melanoma,
Right.
and my mom loves Thor. So we're watching this and we're like, oh, okay, this is great. My mom does she doesn't have melanoma anymore, so
Okay.
that's good.
Thank God for that.
But it was just like it's like okay, this is fun, I guess. And like there and then seeing Gore and like the whole storyline with his daughter and just why Gore's going about killing gods,
Mm-hmm.
like it's so sad and it's dark and that part of that movie is so great and it's like the parts with Thor I actually don't like,
Yeah.
which sucks. And with this movie, with Thor: The Dark World, there's a lot of darkness in it, and that's why they leaned heavily into the comedy in Ragnarok, because they were like, we don't want to do this again, so we're gonna go the opposite direction,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you didn't need to go the complete opposite
Yeah.
direction. You
They
need to
missed.
find a middle ground,
Yeah. They missed. They missed. But
which,
go ahead.
in my opinion, the Russo brothers have nailed Thor outside of Endgame. I just watched Endgame yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
just the first half hour, or the first hour of the movie, um, and
Fat Thor. You
uh,
talk about Fat Thor, right?
yeah, like and look, I've had a lot of people disagree with me on this, and look, depression's a very serious thing,
It
and it
is.
affects people in very different ways.
It does.
And I understand that. Some people will eat, some people will starve, some people want to lock themselves away, some people want to go out and drink. It like I get it. I completely get it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just it seemed like they were making him the butt end of a joke in Endgame sometimes. That's there's two areas of even though Avengers Endgame it's not a spoiler alert that's my favorite movie ever. Um but it's the two areas of that movie that I didn't enjoy was Smart Hulk looking back on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um and
Professor Hulk.
Thor.
Yeah. And Thor. Yeah.
And like Thor, I just they were you can make him like heavier and stuff like that, yeah, but then you just make him go through a workout routine in Thor: Love and Thunder, and then he's back to being his same old self, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, this is not how you should have gone about the character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like that's one thing like me and my mom have disagreed with because my mom's like I like that part and I'm like I don't because they kept making like the like Don Cheadle's roadie says like um uh when Thor says, "Do you know what's coursing through my veins?" and he says, "Cheese whiz," like that's a funny line. It's a funny line, but like looking at like how he's treated throughout the whole movie, it's like he's just the butt end of a joke after we get through the initial part of like, oh, he's like this and this is sad. It's like, okay, first 10 minutes with Rocket and Thor and Professor Hulk, we're like,
Mhm,
oh, this is sad. He's depressed. Like, I
mhm,
get this. But
mhm.
then, and all the time after that, it's like, okay, he's a butt end of a joke. And I don't like that. In my opinion, the way they handled him in Infinity War was the absolute best that we've seen Thor. And in the teaser
Mm,
for Doomsday that features Thor,
mhm.
that's better than anything we've gotten since Infinity War.
Hmm.
in my opinion. Like in his dialogue, just the emotion. I've seen. It's like it's 20 seconds of Thor, and it's more than we've gotten since
Hmm.
Infinity War. Um, but yeah, that's my
I,
opinion on
I,
Thor from Endgame. Like, I it's I was thinking about like our stream when we get to Endgame
hmm.
yesterday,
Hmm.
and I'm like, it's probably gonna be like a 5 hour. It might be a 5 hour recording.
Yeah.
But we kind of have to start talking about that as like from
Leading
here
up
on
to it.
out
Yeah.
because there are going to be pieces that we connect to Endgame that we won't be able to talk about in
Once
that
we get
like we
that's
we could
true.
talk about that movie for 30 hours.
Yeah.
I mean that because it's a 3 hour long movie.
Yeah.
So being able to talk about little things like Thor and his
Yeah.
depression in that, being able to connect that to this movie,
Yeah.
like Thor from here on out goes through a lot in
Yeah.
life.
And
It,
I understand what you're saying, but I can understand him getting to a point to where he's like, you know what, enough of this. I can.
mhm.
I mean,
I get that.
he lost his
I get that.
mom. He lost his dad.
His
He lost
brother,
his brother.
his
He
best
lost his
friend
best friend.
Heimdall.
Like, and it just kept happening.
Mhm,
And then here's what he's dealing with, right?
mhm,
He's dealing with, if I'd have just aimed for the head,
mhm,
none of it. So not only is he feeling the guilt, well, not really the guilt, but not only is he feeling the loss of his brother, his best friend, his dad, his mom, but he's feeling the loss of the universe in that if he just aims for the head, none of this happens.
mhm,
That's a tremendous amount of weight. You know what I mean? Even for a demigod, that's a so I can understand that. Now, they did they did kind of
mhm.
pile on it, although the cheese whiz was funny. That
And
was
like
funny.
when he's sitting in the chair and Caps like Thor, and they're trying to get him to talk about the reality stone, and he's got the glasses on, so they're like, I think Black Widow is the one who says, "Is he asleep?" And Rhodey's like, "Hey, I think he might be dead." Like I'm like, and I'm like, again, it's funny in the moment,
Right,
but like, and I get why he got to this point,
right, right.
and but this is where you need to have more supportive friends in that moment, and and maybe if maybe the writing could have been a little better. Or you could have had someone, one of either Ant Man or Steve Rogers or Tony, just go up to him and be like, "It's okay." Like how when Tony returns to Earth at the start of the movie
Hmm.
and Steve goes to Tony is like, and Tony's like I lost the kid, and Steve says, "Tony, we lost." And it's such a powerful, like Steve doesn't even
Hmm.
finish that.
Yeah,
It's just so powerful. It's two people, even though they're butting heads, they're
right. They
like we
acknowledge it.
lost.
Right, right.
And I wish we had that with Thor and some other character.
Yeah.
What, like just to go up to him and be like, Thor, it's okay. And and they tried to do it, I think, in beginning with Professor Hulk and Rocket, but again, they were making it a joke.
Well, I think
It's like
yeah,
I wish someone just went up to Thor and
and been like, it's
literally
okay.
gave him a hug.
Yeah.
Give him a hug. That's all I asked.
I think they look at him as a god, and so they're like,
Yes.
this is Thor. Like, they're that if it had been anybody else, they probably would have done that. But I mean, Thor is badass, man. So they're
Hmm.
probably thinking, even though they're thinking snap out of it, right? If
Yeah.
that had been anybody else, they probably would have. And it goes to how they view him. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because even
Yeah.
though Iron Man's badass, Captain America's badass, Thor's king of that party, buddy. I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody says. So they're looking at him like Snap out of it, Thor. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And maybe they shouldn't be. Maybe they
mm,
should. Maybe they can't understand because you know what I mean. We can look at Cap. We can look at every Marvel character, but Thor's been alive for thousands of years, so the losses for him of these
mm,
characters is far greater. You know what
mm,
I mean? When you lose a Loki, when you lose his mom
mm.
and his dad, you're talking about thousands of years. You know, Heimdall being his best friend, thousands of years. And that was the other thing about this movie. I really focused more on Heimdall. I didn't pay attention to
Mhm.
Heimdall the first character, the first time I
Yeah.
saw the movie, and I liked his character arc, right? So I
Mhm.
that was something, and it kind of I could understand why he felt so bad because I didn't realize how tight he and Heimdall were. Even though Heimdall doesn't speak much, you can see like he and Thor that's his dog right there. You know what I mean? So I get it.
Yeah, like at the beginning, like when Thor's clearly thinking about Jane and Heimdall, it's because Heimdall can see
Right.
everybody in the universe. It's it's such a you feel the connection between Thor and
Right.
Heimdall in that
Right.
moment where he's like, "How's Jane doing?" And Heimdall's like giving him like genuinely like what she's doing and
Right.
stuff. And then it makes it scarier when Heimdall like
Can't see.
gets
Yeah.
has this confused look and Thor's like what's wrong and he's like I can't see her. And you're like wait a minute. This is crazy.
Right.
He can't see her.
Right.
Where the heck is she? So I like that. It's a little scene, but I really like it.
Yeah. No. Um. So with Malekith, this is about old power versus new order.
Mhm.
I agree. The scheme or the agenda for Malekith is a little basest.
Yes.
Um. But I mean, again, dude's like thousands of years. I mean, literally he goes. They don't explain what happens to him, but I guess from what I gather, he was in some sort of altered state, some sort of sleep. What do they call it? Hibernating state or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he's awakened by the ether, and he immediately goes back into what is, and he could have been asleep for 10,000 years because he was an enemy of Odin's dad.
Mhm.
So if Odin's 5,000, you figure he had to be asleep for like 10,000 years. So he wakes up, and that was the last thought in his, or at least it appears that way. You look like you got something.
So this comes back to the combo we had of with Thor and Odin being the worst dad in all of
I knew that was going to come
Marvel
up. Yeah, I knew that
because
was going to
he
come.
says a line in here. I had to pause the movie and I'm like, "What is wrong with you?"
Let's get
And
to it. What's the line?
he when Thor when he's explaining to Thor the story of of Malekith and like Odin's dad defeating him, he says to Thor's like are they all dead? And he's like they're all he's like there or he's like is there any more of the I don't remember what the Malekith's people are or he's like are there any more of them left? And Odin surely says they're dead. He's so sure about it and I'm like, dude, are you sure? Like, why are you lying in this moment? Why? What is your thought process
What's your
here?
fear?
You
Why are
you
you?
want you want everything to be squeaky clean and nice. And look, maybe that's representation of like uh wealth in the world. That like Odin is the
Old
uh
money.
the wealthy person not looking at how society is in certain areas of the world and not everybody is happy in this world and that's I mean yeah that's pretty much directly in comparison to that but I'm just like, why are you so blinded? Like you're you could be killed. Your wife got killed because you were so arrogant. Ah, he drives me nuts. Odin is such a bad father. He's such a bad husband, and I can't believe that Thor's mom even is still with him. Like I'm just like, oh, he drives me nuts sometimes. And like when Loki dies, as as and like Loki's pretending to be an Asgardian
Hmm.
like guard, and he's like, we found a body, and Odin's like Loki, but he just doesn't have any emotion, and
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you?
yeah,
Like honestly, I'm glad Loki did what he did in
yeah.
Ragnarok because you know what, you deserve to. Although his death in Ragnarok is a great death,
Hmm.
it's a great scene, and it he explains his failures in that moment,
Hmm.
and that's what makes it such a powerful scene at the beginning of that movie. Um, but yeah, he's such a bad father. He's like at least Thanos. Like I look,
Here we go.
I will
Here we go.
continue to say this. He's
Let's
a
go.
better father than Odin. Thanos is a better father than
A
Odin.
bullshit. No,
He's
I'm
just
sorry.
he's more emotionally invested in
Whatever.
his children
Whatever.
than
He
Odin.
killed her
Odin
parents
Odin didn't
in
care if his
front of
kids
her. He
died.
killed her parents. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, he had to. That was his moral mission.
Her parents. He
His
killed her
moral.
parents in front of her.
To be fair,
There's nothing
Odin
worse than that. Oh,
Odin
fuck
used
that.
all right. It would be like it would almost be like if Odin kidnapped a baby from his enemy, raised it his own, and to use it as war propaganda. Huh? Oh wait, they did.
He did
Loki,
not kidnap the
hello.
baby. He found the baby. He did not. And you know what's funny? What's interesting is when he's about to sentence him to jail or send him to the prison or whatever, he says, bring the
Mm,
prisoner. And they're having a discussion, and he's like, you withheld my birthright from me. And he's like, your birthright was to be killed. And it's like in that moment, right?
mm,
I'm no longer your son. Now that you're mad, now that you're angry with me,
mm,
right? Because and so to me, this movie is about role reversal,
mm,
right? In juxtaposition to the first film, right? So in the first film, Thor goes against his father's wishes, but he's impulsive in the first one. He's got lessons to learn, and so his father banishes him to Earth, the Earth realm, but he says whosoever, he still leaves him a way out, right? Okay, whosoever grab this hammer or whatever, if they be worthy, can wield the power. And he sends the hammer to Earth, and this is important because he didn't have to. He didn't have to send Thor and the hammer to the same place. He does this. He does this out of love. In this iteration, Thor denies him again, but he's denying him this time because Odin is clearly blood drunk
mm,
and emotional and angry, right? And we see that even prior to Frigga dying, we see him being emotional and angry because even though you might have to put your kid in their place, he shouldn't have said this to Loki. He should not have said,
mm,
"Well, your birthright was to be killed," right? Because basically he's saying, "Know your place." Where in the beginning he's like, "No, you're my son." He's proving Loki right. He's proving him right. I say this because if you want to know what a person's what they really think, make them angry. Make
mm,
them really angry. And those things that they hold, it's going to come out.
mm,
And
mm,
in this scenario, when he's like, well, your destiny was to be killed, he's essentially saying, boy, know your place. Be thankful that I saved you that day. And
Know
while
your
I
role and
may,
shut your mouth, you jabroni.
right, right. And while I may have love for you, you've gone and done the unthinkable. And boy, you know what I mean? But when he disciplined Thor, he didn't do that
Mm,
because he left Thor way out, right? So we see the inequity and how they're treated in this one. And so I can agree with that. Now I will never say that Thanos killing Gamora's parents makes him better. Okay, we're gonna disagree there because let me tell you something. Uh I love my parents, and if someone had done that to me at some point, they're gonna answer to me. I don't give a damn if you did help raise me or whatever. We're gonna have a conversation about it when I get grown and something like that. You don't get you did that in front of them, bro. You know what that does to a child? Nah, man. I
To
no.
be fair, he was distracting. He was distracting her with the balance, the perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
He's
The
so benevolent.
or
He's
that's
so
why
kind.
he was like, oh, this is a child. Like, let me distract her while I kill her
While I kill
parents.
her parents. Oh, he's
But
oh.
like, I'm not saying Thanos is a good father either. By the way, I want to make that very abundantly clear. He's not a good father,
He's just not as
but
bad as Odin, is what you're saying.
he's not as bad as Odin.
Damn.
And it even goes into the third movie. It's very. I mean, the third movie is basically, Odin was such a bad father, and because he didn't even tell Thor and Loki about
Hella.
their sister Hela, and it's like, oh, by the way, I'm dying, so your imprisoned sister, oh, by the way, you have a sister, is gonna now be unleashed upon everyone, and she's gonna be the person who destroys
That's a
Asgard. So
good point. That's
have
fair.
fun, have fun. I'm off to Valhalla, and
Deuces.
I'm gonna be sipping mai tais in Valhalla with
Deuces.
Heimdall.
About enjoy your
So
sister from hell. We'll
I
see
hate
you.
I hate Odin. He's such a bad father. He's so awful. I don't understand.
have fun with
Like,
have fun with your sister from hell. Have a good time, boys. Bro, I can't wait till we get to Ragnarok. All right, so let's get to some character arcs. Thor is more patient in this one, more restrained, less arrogant. This is Thor learning leadership through loss. And it is. Loki still manipulative, but visibly broken. This movie begins Loki's slow shift from villain to anti-hero. And we see this, and then, oh, this broke my heart. This broke my heart. But when he says to her, he says, "He's not my father!" And you can see that above anybody else in his life, Loki knows that his mother loves him.
mhm,
He knows it.
yes.
And she says to him, "Am I not your mother?" In other words, it doesn't matter where you came from. I've loved you from the day you've been here. And he says to her, "No." And you
Mm,
can see tears well up in her eyes.
mm,
And you can see her just disappear. And when they tell him that she has passed, you can see it just all over him. And let me tell you something. Guilt is probably one of the most powerful emotions ever, because I know he felt guilty. That for me, that is the driving force of this movie. It is Thor's loss, but it is Loki's guilt because of that last conversation. Thor's last conversation with her was loving, right? I'll take care of her. I got it. Loki's last conversation was, "You're not my mother," and that had to ring hollow. That had to ring in his head until he met his end in Infinity War. You don't get over something like that.
you know, I may have to take what I said earlier back about not no one giving Thor a hug, because when he goes back in time, he sees his mom
Yep,
from the events of the
yep,
Dark World,
and she does.
and
She
that's
very
where it
much
gets resolved.
right.
So, and that, but I'm so emotionally invested in that scene because I'm like, I think she needed to die in this movie in order for the events of Ragnarok and Infinity War and Endgame. I think
To
it
take
only
place.
made
Yes,
sense to kill her off
yes,
in this movie,
yeah.
because if you keep her, then she was the emotional attachment of the four of them, of
Hmm.
Loki, Thor, Odin,
Hmm.
and her. So. it would make sense to kill her off here, kill off Odin in Ragnarok, kill off Loki in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. But I completely forgot about that scene in Endgame. That's what makes Endgame such a great movie.
Oh yeah.
Because even the questions sometimes I have, they answer it either way. And the sh- sh- uh, I want Loki to have that type of scene in Doomsday or Secret Wars
Yeah.
with her. Because Thor needed that in Endgame because he
Hmm.
was depressed. But I feel like Loki needed to see this. Loki, and like Loki's a hero now.
Hmm.
Like, hey, at this moment in the Dark World, he's an anti-hero.
Hmm.
I mean, he's a villain turned anti-hero. But at this moment, if you watch everything, he's a hero. I mean, he's holding the universe together,
Hmm.
literally. Um, and I want him to have that moment with his
Yeah.
mom, like to go back in time to just be like, thank you. And
Hmm.
and I would love that type of moment. It would be such an emotional
It would
payoff
be.
that
Yeah.
I would truly love from this scene
Yeah.
because it'd be such a full circle moment, and because she's taught Loki so much.
Hmm.
Loki would not be who he is without her,
Right.
and and like they're literally splitting images of each other, Thor and Odin, and then I always forget her name.
Frigga.
Um,
Frigga.
Frigga. Frigga and Loki
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
spitting images of each other. They both in terms of power set and
Yeah.
just their knowledge and how they treat other people.
Hmm.
But yeah, that scene, it's a rip your heart out moment when
It,
he
it
says
it it
because
is,
I'm
man.
not.
I tell you what, I did have to kind of get up and because because just the tears in her eyes.
Hmm.
He knew I knew he hurt her. He knew he hurt her. And it was just I just when it because it's funny. I missed that the first time I saw it,
Hmm.
or I didn't miss it, but I didn't think about it. But again, because of events in my life, when that happened, I was like, oh, he's gonna regret that.
Hmm.
Because I'd forgotten she died in this movie. But when that happened, I'm like, oh shit, that's foreshadowing. He's gonna regret that. Soon as it happened, soon as he said that to her, I'm like, and you know what? The thing about that is in life, that is why if you can help it, you don't have an ending like that with anybody that is close to you. And you just don't because you never know, right? Because I know there's no way in the world he's thinking this is the last time I'm gonna see my mom. And so, even when Thor comes to him to tell him about their plan to go to the dark world or whatever, and we see the hologram of Loki being fine, and then when Thor enters the room, we see the room is in chaos. And this represents that Loki has lost all that is dear to him because, to your point, she understood Loki. She never judged Loki. And their relationship was funny because he he says to her in the beginning before he's being sentenced, he says something and she's like, "Come on, be serious now." And he's like, "It." But just their dialogue, he could be himself with her. For his dad, he's always trying to get his dad's approval, but his mom, he could be himself, right? Um, and I never felt bad for Loki until I went back and I felt so bad for him in that moment because I know what guilt can do, and not that I had a moment like that with my mom, but when again you're taking care of somebody that's ill and you're trying to get them to do certain things and they refuse to do it, and we would have arguments, but I played those conversations back, and if I could do it all over again, I probably would have been gentler. I probably wouldn't have been like, "Mom, you got to get up." I would have been gentler because it would have been kinder to me when she transitioned. You get what I'm saying? So on a certain level, I know the conversations he's having with himself. And that's why he does need a moment. He needs a moment with her where she says, "It's okay. I knew the moment you said it that you still love me. It's okay." He needs that. Because I think that will give him peace because he's walking around without it. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it may. and I think that's what made the movie so much better, and why when he says when Thor says to him, "How can I trust you?" and Loki says, "Trust my rage." Oh, he meant that shit. Oh, he meant that. He meant that. I love that line because I knew exactly what he was saying. I knew 100% what he was saying. Okay? If dementia was a person, I'd kick the shit out of it. I would vanquish it to hell.
Mhm.
And I would kick the shit out of it some more. And I would not stop. I'd probably go to hell still kicking dementia's ass. So I understand dementia in this case being a personification for whatever happened to Frigga. But when he says trust my race, I got that. I really did. I felt that. I connected with it. It was 100% spot on. And anyway, whatever. Let's get to Jane Foster, who plays a large part in this movie. I don't want to say she grows up, but she kind of, again, you got to ask yourself, why was she chosen? She, on some level, she has to be powerful, right? This cosmic entity that's millennia old, right? That's thousands and thousands of years old, isn't just going to choose the weakest host, right? So there's got to be something about her that's powerful. And we see her really, really, truly fall in love with Thor. In the first one, they're kind of into each other, but they really don't have a lot of time, right? You get what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
don't spend a lot because everything's going on. Like she like to me, the first one is like she's got a high school crush on this guy. She's got a
Yeah.
high school crush on the quarterback of the football team, but they really don't go out. Like they go to homecoming or whatever, but homecoming's interrupted because she's got to go home, and they have a quick date, and then he goes off, to whatever he's gonna do, and she doesn't see him, and she's back home. But in this movie, there's a courtship that takes place, and he takes her to Asgard, and as they're talking, you can see that she is totally encapsulated with him, and he is encapsulated with her when they're having the dialogue about the planets aligning, and he aligns their hands, and she's
Mhm.
just lost in his words, right? And that to me was kind of the peak of their relationship, because in further illustrations, we really don't get back to her until Love and
Yeah.
Thunder. So that for me, this was the peak. She was, to me, in this movie, she was what Lois Lane is when she first sees Superman. When
Yeah.
she and when I say, when she first discovers that Clark is Superman, and the love that they have for each other. That was my issue with this most iteration of Superman. Now, to be fair, what I didn't think about is they had I think they had known each other for 3 years at that point,
Mhm.
and she had probably known that he was Superman maybe for a year and a half, 2 years. So it wasn't new to her, right?
Yeah.
So that made sense. But to me, she's kind of like a schoolgirl in that she's all in on him and he's all in on her, which makes the plot that much, because it's like, this is young love, man. This is young love. This is, I will kill you, and
Mhm.
38 people like you and their dogs, and you are not gonna take Jane Foster, right? And that's the conflict between he and Odin. But Thor is much more mature. Thor's like, look, I don't want to fight with you, but this is that. So I just thought that was interesting. But anyway, she's no longer just a love interest. She becomes the emotional anchor of the film, and she is. Odin is a ruler clinging to tradition in a universe demanding adaptation. But he's also blood drunk. That's a
Yeah.
large part of this story. Is And we don't see him cry or whatever because he's Odin, he's thousands of years old. But on the inside, I think Anthony Hopkins does a great job of still letting you know he is messed up behind this. He is, and especially when it's like, we will fight to the last drop of Asgardian blood, and Thor's like, yeah, but what if we can avoid that? And Odin's like, damn that, these
Like
fuckers
you
are gonna
said,
pay.
role reversal.
Right,
Like he was
right,
he was just so blood drunk like
right,
Thor was in the first movie.
right, 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 right. But I mean, he's clearly upset. And Thor does a great job of navigating, because in the first one he's, oh, you're an awful. He doesn't do that in this one. He's like, okay, I recognize we're all upset here, and he quietly assembles his team. And I really like this version of Thor, because this, to me, this is Thor at his best before Endgame, in the conversation that he has with Frigga, when she basically heals him, and she tells him it's okay, and whatever she tells him, because at the end of that, he grabbed two hammers, because he had Mjolnir, because he went back and got Mjolnir, right? Because that was after Hela destroyed it. He went back and got that version of Mjolnir. He's got the one that they put together in the Infinity War.
Stormbreaker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he goes, and it was like, oh, let's go. Let's go. Oh, man. But
And
anyway, I'm
she
sorry.
got him and she said to eat a salad.
Yeah. And she did. Ha! She did.
Again
She
with the
did.
jokes.
She
Like
did.
I
She
that
did.
was funny. That one I'm like, all right, that's a
Yeah.
mom joke.
Yeah.
I appreciate that one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. That was good, man. But
Yeah.
anyway, Frigga's death is obviously the emotional core of the film. It shatters Thor, it humanizes Odin, and it breaks Loki completely. And I agree. Loki is probably the one that is most adversely affected. And you know what's interesting, Jordan? I didn't see that the first time I saw this. I really I missed that completely, because again, as soon as he says to her, "You're not my mom," and you can see that, like, we, as sons, we've all done some dumb shit that just hurt our mom, and she looked at us like, you know what I mean? And you feel bad immediately. Like, you feel like, okay, like, you just, oh God, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And as soon as he said it, he regrets it. But she just casually goes away. Um, but yeah, it does break him. Major themes of this movie: grief and consequence, duty versus desire, old power resisting change, the cost of leadership. That's a big one right there, man. That is a big one. And you could argue, and you did say this earlier, but Loki does not, I'm sorry, Odin does not take these dark elves seriously initially. And he should. They should have been preparing for them. The moment that he sees that she has been infected with the dark ether, his brain should have gone to, oh, these folks are still alive. Because if the ether is alive, then he should have immediately gone to that, but that's not where his brain is. You know what I mean? So yeah, and to your point, that cost him Frigga.
Yeah.
That cost him Frigga. Um, let's get into some scenes, man. So let's get into Thor and Loki's alliance. So Thor frees Loki. He goes and has a conversation with him, and Loki says to him, "Oh, you got to be desperate. You really got to be desperate." And Thor says, "How can I trust you?" And Loki says, "Trust my rage." And I felt him on that. Um, this isn't forgiveness for what he did, but it is necessity. And a lot of their relationship is this, right? Because we think that Thor dies in this, that I'm sorry, Loki dies in this one. He doesn't. And that is a theme that is, repeated throughout this. And it's funny because in Infinity War, Thor says to him, "Brother, you really are the worst." Because he's like, We don't have the Infinity Stone. We don't have it. And he's like,
He's like,
yeah, we do. And he's like,
yeah,
brother, you really are. That was funny. Going
yeah.
back and looking at the evolution of their relationship, that was really funny. I think that's one thing that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done well is when you go back and you look at these, and specifically on interactions between certain characters, they've really done that well because that joke is so much more funny when you get the context. Golly, man, why you were always doing something, Loki? Damn, why? You really are the worst. And it was anyway, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get off on a tangent. But they hatched this plan to leave or whatever. Give me your thoughts and what's going through your mind in this scene.
I had a hard time when I first saw this movie, like getting over the idea that okay, we just saw the events of Avengers.
Yep.
Loki was trying to like destroy New York.
Everybody.
I don't trust this guy. But like Thor is like, all right, I'm out of options, and I'm like, okay, I guess. Um, and it's from this moment on, my perspective of Loki always changed because, and I mean, it changes for everybody, I think, with this movie because in Thor, he's the villain. In the Avengers, he's the villain. In this movie, he's an anti-hero. From here on out, he is an anti-hero.
Right.
So, and we're like, we can't trust this dude. And right as soon as it looks like he sacrifices himself and like he dies, it's like, okay, no, he didn't actually die. And I'm like, all right, this guy. Um, so and we see this throughout the Infinity Saga,
Yeah.
really until Infinity War with the most brutal death that that's the most brutal death of the entire of any Marvel movie that I've seen. Like I in Captain America: The First Avenger, we see like and one of the Hydra agents like get thrown into like a wind turbine and stuff like that, and we see like blood spatter. But his death was so gruesome in Infinity War because we care so much about Loki because we've
Hmm.
seen so much of him. We've seen his character arc,
Right.
such a great character arc. Probably top. If you take out the Loki series, it's still like a top five character arc
Hmm.
because I think what the Loki series does well is like it like flips the character arc and takes it into like a whole other level.
Right.
But in general, his Infinity Saga character arc is so great. Um, and it it finalizes with like like he was like, all right, I'm probably gonna die in this moment, and you literally hear his neck snap. When I heard his neck snap
Hmm.
in the theater, there were people audibly going, "Oh my god!" Like I remember that first when that happened, I was like, "Oh, this movie's gonna get good." like like this movie's going somewhere.
Yeah.
Because to kill off a character and to kill off a character
Hmm.
like Loki, in that brutal of a way. In the comics, like there are a lot of brutal deaths, especially in the Infinity War and Infinity Gauntlet
Hmm.
comic book storylines. Uh, there are brutal deaths. Like Nebula has a really brutal death in the
Hmm.
comics. And I was like, if you're gonna go through call this movie Infinity War, that's a way to that's how you start it. Also, you kill off Heimdall like
Can I
in
stop you?
that
Can
in
I
that
can I can I stop you right there?
yeah
I just
yeah
now remember you
yeah
said that Odin is the worst father, right? But
yeah
interestingly enough, you bring up Nebula, who,
yeah.
you know, if we look at Thanos' treatment of her,
It's
um,
similar to Odin with Loki.
no, 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 far worse, sir, far worse,
Oh yes.
far worse. So I mean, you know what I mean? That's sort of like I don't know that we can call. I don't know. There's a little hole in your theory there. He
Give me a sec. Give me a
experimented on
second.
his daughter. He tortured his own daughter.
Give me a second with this. All right, hear me out with this. Hear me out with this. Um, the all right, you're gonna bust out laughing
I
after I
am.
ask you this question because
Okay.
it almost has nothing to do with anything whatsoever.
Okay.
Do, do you understand Kobe Bryant's Mamba mentality?
Yes.
Okay.
But
All
that's
right.
not why he's doing it.
Hold on.
Oh, here we
So,
go.
so the reason why Nebula got experimented on was because she kept losing fights to Gamora, which led to him like trying to make her better, right?
Mm-hmm.
By like programming her basically. So that was he wanted to make the perfect again, I don't think Thanos is a good father. I think this is awful parenting. This is straight up awful. But he wanted to make her the best version of her, I guess. It's not don't do this. Don't do this. You're this is where he was a bad father on top of killing Gamora for his moral mission, but also like I don't know, maybe you imprisoned your daughter,
You
you
tortured her for
kidnapped a
years.
kid,
You
you
know,
kid I'm just saying
you
he was just
sacrificed your
trying to
daughter to advance your own agenda to kill half the human beings on the planet, but you're still a better father than Odin in your mind, right? That's tough.
Google it.
That's
In the
that's
words of
nasty work right there, buddy. That is
in the words
nasty
of
work.
Kurt Signetti, Google it.
That is nasty work right there. All right, man. So back to the point. Give me your thoughts on this scene. I didn't mean to cut you off. I had a thought while you were talking.
All
Go ahead.
right, what scene is this again?
I know, right? It just completely just got off the rails. Thor and Loki's alliance.
Oh
When
yeah.
Thor recruits
Um,
him.
it's so uh, his character arc is just so great in this, and it starts here with the anti-hero to become a hero by Infinity War, and it's like you can't trust him. But there's one person on this entire Earth, in our Earth, and in this Marvel universe that has a little trust for Loki. That's Thor. So
Hmm.
if and I trust Thor.
Hmm.
So if I trust Thor and Thor trusts Loki, then yeah, maybe there's a
You
little
trust
part of
Loki.
me that trusts
Yeah,
Loki,
by
and that
default.
trust grows throughout the entire universe.
Right.
So, um, yeah, it starts here, and they do a great job of like allowing you to actually feel for the character from here on out.
Yeah. No, they do. I tell you what else is interesting though is just the one thing. There are a couple things they really did well, and one of these was they would build on top of a scene or call back a previous scene. And they really did that well. So in Infinity War, when Loki says to Thanos, "We have a Hulk," it's a callback to Tony saying to him, "We have a Hulk." But it goes horribly wrong.
Yeah,
It goes horribly wrong in that, right? But the setup is beautiful. Anyway, it's just a thought I had. But you know, let's get to Loki's death. So Loki appears to die saving Thor. Um, and he does save him. And the one thing I didn't realize how what a prodigious fighter Loki is with a knife. I did not realize how deadly he was with the knife. And Loki is deadly with the knife. I mean,
yeah,
just deadly. Um, and he hey, they show up, they reenact this thing, and essentially what they're trying to do is to get Malekith to remove the ether from Jane Foster, which he does. And then they go about their plan. And while they don't stop Malekith, the ether is removed from Jane Foster, and they're successful in that. But you know, from what we know in this scene, Loki dies, and you know, Thor is, of course, now you lost your brother and you lost your mother, and just, you know what I mean? So a large part of this movie is about loss and grief and still keeping your wits about you and doing what is the right thing. And this sets up the final battle, which I thought was great. I thought the visualization in this scene was great. The fact that they were transferring to different realms was great. I love the way they did it. That's the one thing that stuck out to me about this was the first time I really didn't pay attention to the Loki character arc, but this final scene, man, I loved it because Thor and Malekith get after it, and I am here for it. What a scene! What a scene! What a scene! And then there's the scene where Jane Foster and Dr. Selvig and her female assistant, I can't think of her name, but she ended up being in WandaVision.
Darcy.
Yeah,
Darcy.
Darcy, and then
Yeah.
the other guy, and they're like, Darcy, Jane, Professor, da, da, da. And then the hammer goes by, and she goes,
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir. That was great. That was funny. That was probably the most I laughed. That just the way they did that was great. Because Mjolnir keeps going in and out of dimensions, right?
Yeah.
Because it's chasing Thor. I just think that's great. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that final battle. And then he's like, well, there's nothing you can do to stop it. And he's like, I don't have to stop it. I just got to stop you. And he leaps up in the air. And the one thing that they do throughout the entire Thor series, is that Mjolnir and Thor are one, so he can sense it when it's nearby. He knows exactly where Mjolnir is. The two are one. And so he leaps in the air, right? As Mjolnir is coming to him, grabs it as he is descending upon him, and just the way that that is done, beautiful. Just man. And the imagery throughout this as they're transitioning from Asgard to Earth to whatever dark realm the elves are on, I loved it. So I love this for me, but let's talk about what this was for you.
Um, I actually had a very different approach
Oh
to
wow.
the finale. Um, this is actually where I lose the movie for me.
Okay.
Um, maybe because it's on Earth.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know. I've always had this like this thing where like with Thor movies, that's like I don't like when we're not on Asgard.
Right.
Um, and the finale felt like not anticlimactic. Like
Hmm.
it could have been bigger.
Okay.
Like it felt like almost like small in scale because we're just in London. We're not seeing the visual like we see Asgard like slowly turning dark and stuff like that and other dimensions slowly turning dark, but we don't see this on Earth. So I don't feel the
The sense
impact
of
of like
urgency
and
on Earth.
also like what is it doing? Is it just like turning out the lights? Like is it
Ah!
just like dark? Can I still like say, "Hey, can we still talk? Can we
Can I have
like
a
it's just
cheeseburger?
dark?"
Can I have a
Yeah,
cheeseburger?
can I still go to Chick-fil-A and get a chicken sandwich? Like
Huh.
if it's just dark, honestly, not the worst thing I've heard. Um I just I've never it comes down to Malekith's whole like mission. I just can't get behind it, and it leads to the finale just feeling a little hollow almost for me. I really like you said with the visual effects,
Hmm.
especially with the way that and they almost set it up in Thor, like how Thor and Jane talking
Hmm.
about science and magic,
Yep.
and use Thor using her those like I don't know the stick things, um, to like that transport everything,
Right.
like using that to his advantage. That was really cool. Like I liked all of that. I like Mjolnir not knowing where he's going and he's going all over. I liked it. Um, small scene. Maybe I don't think I would have probably had this in the finale, but like when Thor goes on the train. and
Yeah. And the
and
girl
he's like,
falls on his chest, and
yeah,
she's like,
it's and what's funny in that scene is like she does that, and then Thor knows exactly what she did and just smiles. Like it's a funny little scene, but I wish it happened like not in the finale, because I feel like the finale's also overloaded with some comedy elements in a dark movie, and
yeah,
I don't care for that. I hate the worst part of this movie, in my opinion, is the whole Darcy and
the
her
assistant.
assistant
Yeah,
intern
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I don't care at all. You could have taken them both out of this movie. I would have been completely fine with it.
Mm,
I would have been, and I don't. I want Kat Denning. I think
yeah,
that's the actress's name
yeah.
who plays Darcy. Love her. I think she's
Love her.
awesome. I like her
100.
character in WandaVision too.
Like her character
Like
and
I
everything.
truly like her, and I just don't care for her character in either of these two movies at all. Um, I mean,
I loved her. That's why I loved her character. I
I just don't.
loved her character.
There's sometimes where like there's comedy that speaks for itself. When Mjolnir going all around not knowing where he's going, that's hilarious. Like we're talking about like a functioning hammer that's like, ah, geez, I gotta go to this dimension. Oh, geez, why is Thor pulling me over here? Oh, Thor's in this dimension. Like visually, it's so funny to look at. It's like you
Right.
see Mjolnir going that way, and it's like,
Coming back
and
this
it turns
way. Yeah.
around. It's funny. That you don't need to say words to show that's
That.
funny.
Right.
um, and it felt like every time the intern and her were on screen, it just it was forced comedy. Like when he when all right, gravity's clearly out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they gotta show this like skinny dude lifting up a car and
Mm-hmm.
smashing
Throwing it up. Right. Right.
two of Malekith's like henchmen
Right.
and stuff, like obviously, and then that leads to like a passionate romantic scene that I just don't care. We knew this was gonna happen anyways. Um, and
I thought that
I
was
just
funny. I
I
it,
just oh,
I and I,
Selvig, love him in this.
oh yeah.
His I like that's funny. I mean, all right, the whole pants thing, wear some pants, man. It was funny though when Thor. All right, let's get to that scene where Thor is on Earth and they're going over the plan for the finale.
Mm-hmm.
Thor, it's like they
He
go
goes
into this
up.
like apartment hotel and he
Yeah.
hangs Mjolnir on the on the coat rack. I was like, and ever I remember when that happened, there was memes where it's like, oh, the coat rack is worthy. I loved it so much.
Oh
And
man.
uh and then after that when Thor like requests Mjolnir off the coat rack, and it like scares Selvig a little bit, and he's like, I'm
I
gonna
can
have
put
to
some
get
pants.
pants on.
I can get some pants.
Like
Yeah.
it's funny. But like then there's just forced humor. Like with Kat Denning and the intern, with Darcy and the intern, and I'm like, I just don't care what happens between this whole thing. And honestly, we don't even see what happens after that. I mean, until WandaVision, I guess.
What I
Um,
thought was funny about it is she kisses him, and so in the next
yeah,
scene she's holding him, and I thought that maybe that was a feminist agenda. I don't know, but I thought that was funny because and I'm gonna tell you where my brain was going because I'm a narcissist. So when he kills that guy, Malchus henchman, and she looks at him, I'm thinking she's so hot for him right now. I'm really
mhm,
thinking I'd love to do that shit for Kim one day. Oh my god. So when they show him in the next scene and she's holding him up, I thought that was funny because I thought that was gonna be the other way around. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. And then they all show up there, right? They're transported there at the same time, and they're like, it's the Spider-Man meme where it's like, Selvig, oh no, Jane, oh no, right? And then Mjolnir, and that was perfect. I think they put that scene together just so they could have that interaction where she goes, Mjolnir. And only
I
Kat
just
Denning could deliver that. That was perfect. That was
I just
perfect,
don't
man.
I don't care for it. Like I'm just like why did we have to do this?
For that
I don't
scene, for
know.
her to say that, for her to say that, because it was perfect, bro.
But
When
like
Mjolnir goes by there, because I'm looking at them laughing, and then she goes Mjolnir, and I'm like, oh, that was great. And I remember when I saw it in the movies, the audience loved that. That one scene right there where Mjolnir, they love that. I remember people laughing. So I don't know, but anyway, I
I
get what
just
you're
don't
saying.
yeah, but the whole scene just in general, I like how they show the fights in different
Yeah,
dimensions.
yeah,
It just felt very small scale on Earth itself.
yeah.
Like it because it was only in one location. It felt like it only felt like London was an issue.
Right.
Um, or I'm pretty sure they were in London
They were
during
in
that time.
London. Yeah, yeah,
So like I that was the only part where I generally had an issue with.
yeah.
Um, I just felt like the finale was pretty self-explanatory ending with great visuals.
You know what else
Um,
I thought about? Thor
yeah,
had been fighting for a while. He had to stink when she fell. Like I was thinking, he probably, you know what I'm saying? Like he's been fighting. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's the. I'm like, I know he's got to be stinking because he had been going at it. So you're gonna sweat. You're gonna smell like the outside. So I'm like, you know what I mean? When she fell back into him, I'm like, oh, he probably, you know what I mean? I don't
Do you
know.
think? Well, do you think they have deodorant on Asgard? Like I don't think they do. Do you think they have Old Spice Fiji in Asgard? Probably not. Like they probably like literally grab like a mint leaf and wash themselves with that. Like I don't. Do you think they have Dove soap?
But technology, help me out, right? If they're this advanced species, they hadn't conquered deodorant. Is that what you're telling me? They haven't.
Is
They
it,
haven't
it
come up
might
with.
be too low for them. It might be too like it might be like oh we're too, the this because all right history lesson here. In uh I'm I'm pretty sure Egyptian in history with pharaohs that the smellier you were the more the more like higher up and like godlike you were viewed. I'm pretty sure it's Egyptian history, but in a lot of cultures, a lot of history, it, it wasn't until probably the last 200, 300 years where like smell actually like smelling good actually mattered and not body odor. But like body odor throughout the course of human history before the last 300 years has been like this like profound thing, and that's kind of how like even though they have all this technology and stuff that's advanced, they are very old school in terms of their words, their education and all of that. So in terms of their fighting styles too. So my guess is that Asgardians don't shower.
Oh hell no! Oh hell no! Woo. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if
And
we
my
should.
guess is that Jane Foster has no sense of smell.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if we should put that question out there in the universe. I wonder if we should put that question out there because yeah, he had to be. I'm telling you, I fully expected her because I forgot about the scene and she falls back into his chest. And I'm like, wait, he's been fighting so and so. He's got to be smelling kind of fresh in a not so fresh way. But okay. Uh, so yeah, man. Let's talk about some favorite quotes. When Loki says to Odin, I really don't see what the fuss is about. I went down to Midgard to rule the people on Earth as a benevolent god, just like you. Oh, this is a dig at Odin. Oh, this is a dig at Odin. Oh man, he's being he's being a little sarcastic there. He's being a little facetious. And then Odin says to him, "We are not gods. We're born, we live, we die, just as humans do." Clarifying Asgardian mortality to Loki, and I guess in that sense you could clarify them as demigods. Um, I thought this one was good when Thor says to Odin, who's really Loki, "I'd rather be a good man than a great king."
Beautiful line. Beautiful. Every time I watch this movie, that's the best line of the whole
Yeah.
movie. I think about
Yeah.
that. If there's one thing I want to think about more from this movie, it's that line right there.
Yeah. Well, and because a lot of people don't realize to be a great king does not, I don't think you can be a good man and a great king. I think you have to pick a lane. Because if you are a great king, there is a degree of ruthlessness that you have to have.
Mhm.
Even Black Father, Black Panther's father says
Mhm.
to him, "You're gonna have a hard time. You're a good man, which means you're gonna have a hard time as a king." When Black Panther goes to see him in the afterlife, and
Yeah.
so this is kind of well, not even a continuation because it was before that, but yeah, I think that was probably one of my favorite quotes. And then when Loki turns himself into Captain America, when he and Thor are
Mhm.
walking, he says, "I can feel the righteousness surging. Hey, you want to have a rousing discussion about truth, honor, patriotism? God bless America." Now again,
I love
he's being
that.
facetious.
Hmm.
He is calling upon the hypocrisy of the United States, capitalism, and everything. But Loki's funny. So that I enjoyed though. Those were some of my
I
favorites.
love that they got Chris Evans
Oh
for
yeah,
this for
for that
because
cameo.
and I don't remember what like the internet was like in terms of like the like lead up to this movie,
Hmm.
but like if you told me that like Chris Evans was gonna show up in a Thor movie, I'd be like, what? Why? And to have this just small scene is so stupid, but it's so funny, and I love it so much.
Mm, mm. All right, let's talk about what aged well and what didn't. So Loki's character work definitely aged well. Frigga's
Hmm.
impact on the MCU aged well. Malekith did not, and I can agree with that. The dark lightning and the tone, I don't know about that. The generic final battle structure, I liked it, but I guess the general opinion is it did not age well. But whatever. 10 things we didn't
Hmm.
know about it. Alan Taylor came from the Game of Thrones. The Dark Elves predate most MCU villains. Loki's imprisonment mirrors Norse mythology. The Ether was originally liquid chaos.
Yeah.
Frigga trained Loki in magic. That I
Yep.
did not know. Thor rejects kingship for the first time. Heimdall defies Odin's authority. This film influenced Ragnarok's tonal pivot.
Hmm.
Loki ruling Asgard was planned years in advance. So yeah. Um no, I did not know that. I did not know that. Well, I knew some of them, but I didn't know all of that. Ratings. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 67%. Audience gave it a 75%. I'm surprised Rotten Tomatoes was that high. Okay. Let's see. IMDb gave him a 6.8 out of 10. Metacritic gave it a 54 out of 100. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean the everybody knows that this was the first bad Marvel movie for the
Movie.
MCU,
Yeah.
and the scores are solid, and that's the big thing to look at is that this movie wasn't. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think I think it was kind of a bad movie,
Yeah.
but it's not as bad as people make it out to
It's
be.
not.
And because everybody's comparing it to
To the
Phase One.
Avengers. Right.
Yeah.
Right. The Avengers and like you say, Captain America, Winter Soldier, which to me, you could argue was, I mean, Civil War, Winter Soldier were like Godfather 1 and 2. Both great movies. Great movies. Um, but all the cool toys you originally see in uh, Winter Soldier, and just the soundtrack of Winter Soldier. Oh my god, I love that. I'm probably gonna watch it today because we talked about it. That's how much I love that movie. But anyway, um, peak moment check: Thor and Loki fighting side by side, not as brothers but as survivors of the same loss. That uneasy alliance carries more emotional weight than any explosion, and I can agree with that. It was good to see them. It was good to see them work that out. In fighting Malekith, I did enjoy that, so I can
I
agree
don't
with that.
I don't even know what I would say is like my favorite part of this movie either. Cause like there's general ideas that I like about this movie.
Hmm.
Like the way like I said, like how Asgard is depicted. I love that so much. Um I don't really care for Loki and Thor's fight all that much when the ether gets out of Jane. Like I like the fighting and stuff, but just the cinematography and stuff,
Right.
I think it's a little dark there. And we're again, just stop making Thor movies on just flat deserted land. Please stop doing that. We did that. I'm so glad, and they stopped. They did stop, and then we ended up getting like this big trash heap that he's fighting on in Ragnarok, and he's fighting on like with actual gods and Love and Thunder. But like, stop with the flatland, desert looking areas. Like we need. I'm glad they cut that out. Um, uh, I just there's a lot of scenes where I'm like, this is nice. This was nice. It's just it was nothing was great.
I get
Um,
it.
I like when I think about this movie, I don't even I can't even put my finger on like what my favorite part of this movie is.
Oh,
Um,
that's okay. You don't have to have one. It's okay. It's
it's
okay.
it's it's I mean I guess it's probably the part where like when that monster the when Malekith's like guy infiltrates uh Asgard and he turns into that monster and
Yeah.
breaks starts breaking everybody out
Yeah.
and pure chaos erupts.
Yep.
That probably from then on out, that whole fight sequence, um, and with Asgard going getting destroyed and all the way up to the lead up of Frigga dying,
Hmm.
that whole part is probably my favorite part. Um, but yeah, nothing like hugely
Yeah.
stands out of
Stands
this
out.
movie.
That's fine. Let's get into some Easter eggs. The ether, later revealed as the Reality Stone, direct setup for Infinity War. Loki impersonating Odin foreshadows Ragnarok. The Dark Elves echo ancient cosmic threats seen later. And Thor's rejection of the throne sets up his exile arc. Um, any other Easter eggs you can think of in this movie, or?
Um, I mean, the Reality Stone. This is from here on out. They were setting up the Infinity Stones with Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor: The Dark World. Just getting all the Infinity Stones together. That from here on out, the rest of the MCU gets planned. Getting the Reality Stone in was a really crucial part. Um, there's I mean, I heard this movie had a I heard this movie had a rough job behind the scenes. Just getting writers and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
getting a director and a direction that they wanted to go. They just they knew they wanted to step up from Thor,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they tried to. I think there was more risk involved, and
Yeah.
I just didn't think maybe that landed properly. Um, I don't. I know that Malekith was the biggest thing after this movie came out. Marvel knew Malekith what didn't work.
Yeah.
They knew it right away. So, as for who you would have, I don't know who you would have replaced Malekith with, but I don't think you needed to replace Malekith. I think you just needed to give him a better like reason why he's doing all of this.
Right,
And
right.
this is
That
the
that
initial
makes
growing pains
that
with
makes sense.
Marvel.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, my friend. Well, we are at that time, like we are every week. And oh, it's 12 o'clock. Yeah, we got to roll because this storm's supposed to roll in around one.
Mhm.
So, um, I gave this after careful thought and consideration. Initially, I think I gave this a 4. And after going back and reviewing it and looking at the character arc and specifically Loki's part in this, I gave it a 6.5. Now, I went ahead and did the work because you've been
Mhm.
training me on how to do this.
Uh-huh.
So the movies that I've given a 6.5 would be Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, Spider-Man 3, Daredevil. And of those, I would say that it is right under Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer for
Okay.
me. Now
Six
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna say you give this movie a 4.5. That's what I'm gonna say.
So, um, this movie has always been really low for me. I mean, I
Hmm.
think at one point I had a 2 out of 10 for this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
But that was probably right after Endgame.
right,
Um, like after, if you watch all the movies up to Endgame, you're like clearly Thor: Love and Thunder is the worst.
right.
It's so clear and obvious. Well, second worst, Captain Marvel. There's people who have Captain Marvel ahead of it, but I just think Captain Marvel's awful, and I
Eternal,
don't think it ages well either.
eternal.
This movie ages well,
Okay.
and I think over time maybe I'll learn to enjoy it, to give a positive review on it.
Hmm.
It's just I don't think I can recommend this movie. I think there's a lot of boring elements to it.
Hmm.
Um, I think there's a lot of cool elements to it too. Like when you look at the grand scheme of the MCU, you got to think like we didn't get much time in Asgard, and this is the most time we get in Asgard. And like I was telling you before we started recording, I would I would actually love to see an Asgard Disney Plus TV show that shows like not the lead up to Thor, but just like Asgard and maybe Thor growing up, maybe Loki growing up, maybe Odin growing up. I don't know. Maybe make me like Odin more. Um, because maybe I could like the worst father in the world, in the universe. But you could get more time with Frigga. You could get more time with Loki and
Yeah,
Thor, and it would make Thor: The Dark World better.
yeah,
Maybe it would make the first Thor movie better.
yeah.
Um, and I think you could do that. That's what Disney Plus is designed for. You could totally do that, and people would enjoy it. It doesn't. You don't need to retcon anything. Just show us what it was like growing up. Because Thor and Loki talk about stories of them growing up, like Loki turning Thor into a frog, into Throg from the comics. Which, by the way, this week we got the deleted scene from Loki season one, which would have shown Thor as Throg,
Oh
and
wow.
it's a drawn concept. It's so cool. I'm like, yeah, you could do an Asgard show, and you could totally do this.
Mm.
That's my pitch for maybe an idea. Maybe if Chris Hemsworth wants to hang up the mantle of Thor, and we don't return to Thor for a while until he gets recasted. You can cast a young Thor, a
Thor.
young
Yeah.
Loki, stuff like that. So, um, overall, yeah, I don't know who to recommend this movie to outside of comic book fans. I won't
Hmm.
recommend it to a general audience person just because the villain's stale, which leads to a boring script. Visually, it's stunning, as always. All Thor movies are, except for the desert fight scenes. Don't do those anymore. Um, so initially, I gave this a 4 out of 10.
Mm.
That was the last time I reviewed it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I enjoy it more. Still not not a positive review, but this is the highest negative review I'll give, and it is a 4.5 out of 10.
Yes, I got it. I finally got it. I got it
Hmm.
right. Yes, yes. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Yes, 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 yes. I don't know why I
So
feel so good about that, but anyway.
I don't have any other 4.5 out of 10s in anything we
No,
will
you
do
don't.
later or anything we've done since.
No, you
Uh,
don't.
like I will not like I will not give anything else a 4.5 out of 10 going forward. In fact, when I did that switch, I was like, oh wow, I don't have anything else that is 4.5 out of 10. So
Mm-mm.
this kind of fits because of the other 4 out of 10s. I'm like, I enjoy this more. And I saw the potential that this movie could be better than the first Thor movie. It's just it lost steam for me.
Yeah.
Um, and out of the movies above and below it, I have like Fantastic Four from 2005, 2006 above it
Mm-hmm.
at a 5 out of 10, just because I enjoy that movie. I'm gonna recommend it to some people, and it's just I have fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of fun with this with Thor: The Dark World, mainly because it's a dark tone.
Right.
Um, and Blade Trinity's right below that at a 4 out of 10. And that movie, I have it more. I think more positively about it than you do necessarily, but another movie I have fun with, but there was a lot of screwing up that
Yeah.
happened
Yeah.
with that
With
movie.
this with the
So
theme.
that's
Yeah.
so Thor: The Dark World kind of is like a really good bet in between for the two of them.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. But hey man, I'm gonna advise you to really enjoy this next week, okay? Because the week after that, that's gonna be a tough week for you, bro. That's gonna be a tough week for you, bro.
No, don't tell me.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell
Oh, I'm
me.
telling you.
No.
Oh, I'm telling you. Oh, it's gonna be a tough week for
Uh,
you, sir. Oh yeah. 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 See his head. So what the audience doesn't know, we're doing Iron Man 3 next week, but the week after that, we're doing the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which Jordan hates that movie. Hates that movie. Hates that movie. And so I have a suspicious feeling that we are going to be diametrically opposed for that movie. Like
mm,
I didn't like the ending, but I did like that movie. I liked the color.
mm.
I liked where they were going with the story. I didn't like how it ended. I really didn't. But I didn't think that was a bad movie. Jordan hated that movie. And so that's gonna be a very interesting week. I could just see how much Jordan is looking forward to it now, just by the look on his face.
My day's ruined. Thanks for that. Every time I think about that movie, I'm like, it's a little headache that I had
It
when
just
that movie
starts.
came out,
Yeah.
and it comes back. It's like, oh, by the way, here's some garbage. This garbage smells, stinks. It's awful. It's terrible.
So
Think about
it's
that.
not like the Asgardians who take pride in their
No,
BO. It's worse than that,
no,
right?
it's
It's worse
just
than that.
truly
It's a
awful.
pungent odor. It's
It's it
rancid. It's just
it's what it's one of those smells that like you can inhale it and it's just like it makes you
mm.
gag and
Oh,
yeah.
oh wow.
It's like you go to no, this movie I'm glad there's Iron Man. I'm glad the Super Bowl's that week. Because actually no, I'm not even glad the Super Bowl is that week because the Super Bowl might have Jarrett Stidham versus Sam Darnold. I'm gonna have back-to-back days talking about trash.
Oh wow.
Okay, what
Oh
an
wow.
awful week
Oh
of
wow.
I don't think there will be a worse February weekend in my entire life.
Oh wow.
Okay,
Oh
that is
wow.
is absolutely horrendous than what we could be
It's
going through.
madness.
Um, so hopefully the Rams win. But yeah, Iron Man 3. I'll start with Iron Man 3. I mean, we can get into our initial thoughts with Iron Man 3. Um, I mean, uh I remember when Iron Man 3 came out, I was like I enjoyed it a lot. Um But since then, I think it's a just an okay movie.
That's how I
I don't
feel
think
about it.
it's I don't think it does anything outlandish and
Mm-hmm.
extravagant.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think it like it's necessarily the worst thing in the world, and it does tie in a lot of things in the future in terms of getting his arc reactor out,
Yep.
and it kind of builds him into the person he ends up becoming in Endgame.
Right.
Like he's a very different person in Iron Man 3 than he is in Iron Man 1 and 2. And we
Right.
see the aftermath of the Avengers and what he goes through with PTSD.
Yep. 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 100%, man. Iron Man 3 looking for, but then hey, the week after that we go from Amazing Spider-Man
Ah,
2 to Captain America the Winter Soldier. So,
oh yeah. From then on out, we are on a run where we go through Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. What's after that?
Daredevil,
There and then we get into the Netflix series.
yeah. Jessica Jones, and then Avengers Age of Ultron, which I
Ooh,
love. Then Ant-Man, and yeah, we got a bunch. We do have a bunch. Woo wee.
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be busy
This
these
is the
next couple of
run.
weeks. You know what? I watched. Okay, season one watched me. I kind of had it on, but I didn't really watch. I got to go back and watch. I got to go back and watch Daredevil season one this week because once we get into it, we're gonna be into it. So I got to
You
get.
know,
Go ahead,
I put the other day I don't take naps very often. I don't care for naps that
because you're
much.
young. I'm old.
I'm like John Bernthal. Like he doesn't trust John Bernthal is a well known that he doesn't trust people who take naps. It's the
Really?
funniest thing. It's the funniest thing to watch him get so aggravated because he's like, "You're a grown man and you take naps. What is
I
wrong with you?"
I sure do.
It's
I
so
sure do.
funny. It's one of the funniest things that he gets so frustrated with it. Um, and I was like, I wanted to put on just a show to in the background, and I wanted to put on a Marvel show, and I realized my comfort show of all the Netflix series is Daredevil season 3.
Mm,
That I love season 3 so much, and I can't wait for us to get to season 3 because that's peak MCU right there. It is one of the best versions. It was one of the best storylines and arcs for any character that we will ever cover. Is what is and just in general, Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox is Matt Murdock. Just his Daredevil is amazing. I had a hard time when I was watching it, like looking at him and saying, I don't know if this guy can play Daredevil, but I kept watching and I'm like, yeah, this guy's incredible.
he's
And I
solid,
love his
man.
mannerisms. He's amazing.
He's solid. We got a lot of good stuff. We just got to get through Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then it's pretty much
Oh,
you know.
that movie sucks. It's so bad.
Oh
Ah,
wow.
you know, and it's not even gonna be it's not even gonna be the like one of the lowest rated Marvel movies I have because there are elements of it that I think are good. Like my film side views things that the Amazing Spider-Man does and it's like, all right, this is solid work. But I'm a Spider-Man fan.
Hmm.
You screwed up big time in multiple areas, and I'm just like I'm I'm looking at my lowest. I'm looking at my lowest rated Marvel movies and shows from the ones that we're going to be reviewing, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely put this movie in that conversation.
Mm.
Uh, it's just
1.5 territory. Electra territory is what you're saying.
all right. Elektra's my lowest rated movie.
Okay, then
It
Captain
is
Marvel. Then Captain Marvel. Somewhere between Captain Marvel and Daredevil is where this is gonna be. It's pretty.
it's gonna be around that area.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
It's so frustrating. Like Spider-Man 3, at least I can I get frustrated with with a lot of the things, but with the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm just like you doubled down on all of this and made it worse somehow.
I
Like how
hated. Spider-Man 3. So it's going to be interesting when I go back on, because I'm going to be fair. But it's going to be interesting going back and watching that, just to see, because I don't see Amazing Spider-Man 2 being worse than Spider-Man 3. I just don't. I don't see it. So it's going to
With
be.
me, if you watch the Amazing Spider-Man one, like
Mhm.
you and I both kind of were on the same wavelength with that
Mhm.
movie.
Mhm.
That's it's a good movie. Then watching this movie, it's like a whole like it's a 180. It's like how did and like it's like all right, we took the train we took the train to Atlanta, but like somehow we veered off and we're in Nebraska. I don't understand. I like I don't I really just don't. I'm like
How'd we get
what
here?
was going through their heads
Right.
to want to go through so much in that movie and the runtime. How long is this movie? 2 hours and 21 minutes. Honestly, this movie probably should would have been 3 hours if it was competent, in my
Mm.
opinion. Um, and you know what? One positive. I'm glad they changed the suit because I didn't care for the
Yeah.
suit in the first one.
Yeah.
But the suit in this one is more Spider-Man that I'm used to, and I appreciate the suit a lot.
Okay. Well, we will as as always, man. I'm really looking forward to it, buddy. Um, even though it's gonna suck for you, I'm here for you though, man. We'll get through this together. It'll be tough. We'll get through it, and then once we get through it, man, it's smooth sailing for a while
Yeah. Oh
until we
yeah.
get to what's the suckiest movie we're gonna come across?
Well, I'd say Iron Fist season. Well, I don't have a negative review. The next movie or show that I have a negative review on that we're gonna be reviewing. Oh, it's not for a
Jessica
while.
Jones season 2.
Yeah, Jessica Jones. Ooh,
Hmm.
do I have a negative review on that?
I don't know.
I didn't enjoy it.
No, I didn't either.
No, I don't. I actually don't have a negative review on any of the Netflix series.
Okay.
Um, uh,
Ooh, the
the
Eternals are
next
November 7th. Oh.
that might, yeah, actually that might be Eternals is the next movie I have a negative review on.
Mm-hmm.
Is the next movie or show. That's an incredible run. Like we need to step back and say like that isn't remarkable the run that they went on
Mm-hmm.
of just solid content or great
It,
content
it is. It is.
that
It
they
really
were
is.
able to
It
do that.
really is. Yeah, they should be celebrated, man. No doubt about that, and not being tongue in cheek, but in all seriousness, um, I mean, just phenomenal, man. 'Cause, first off, that almost never happens. So you're
Yeah.
looking at, I mean, that's a run, man. I would agree with that. So
It's like 5, 6 years. So that's six no, that's like six years
yeah, man.
of content. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
that's like a sports dynasty. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a couple of championships in a row.
It's like the 90s Bulls. Like that I mean and everybody says like this is the peak of Marvel. That time of like around Civil War all the way to Endgame was peak Marvel. Phases 3 and 4. And I mean we still got to get through phase 2, but phase 3 and 4 are peak Marvel.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, hey, to those of you who joined us, we appreciate you, or who will join us, we appreciate you. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the program, and we'll come back next week when we get into Iron Man 3. Jordan, tell these fine folks where they can find you.
You can find me at Ultegacy, Ultgacy. I cover all things sports. I mean, we got the Super Bowl coming up.
Yeah, we do.
Conference championships
Who
coming
who
up.
who who, who do you think is gonna make it to the Super Bowl? Give me your
Uh,
prediction.
I don't. Oh God, I don't know. So it's funny. Two people I work with at work. Um, One's a Red Sox fan and one's a Yankees fan. And
Ooh.
the Yankees obviously beat the Red Sox in the playoffs earlier this year. And it just so happens that they're also Patriots and Broncos fans.
Oh wow.
So they I told them I was like, all right, yeah, I guess you guys one of you is gonna be crying on Monday. Um,
Mm.
so I they were wondering who I was gonna be picking for the game. I if Bo Nix was playing in the game, I'd be rooting for the Broncos, but I have no idea. I don't want to see the Patriots in another Super Bowl,
Me neither.
but I don't want to see Jarrett Stidham in a Super Bowl.
Mm.
So like there's so much like frustration. I guess I'm picking the Broncos. I guess. I just hope, and I'm really hoping the Rams win, and I'm really hoping the Rams go and win the Super Bowl because that's probably the best case scenario for me. I'm a historian at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day. Like I love the history of the game.
Yes, you do.
If the Broncos go win the Super Bowl, I mean, with a backup quarterback, like I don't know what that does to Bo Nix's resume necessarily.
Who
It's
did
the
that?
same
Didn't the
frustration.
Giants? Didn't the Giants do that one year?
Yeah, but it's also the same frustration that I have with like how I view Carson Wentz. Like I
Hmm.
credit Carson Wentz with a Super Bowl because without Carson
They
Wentz,
don't get there.
we would have not gone to the Super
Right.
Bowl. We would have
Right.
never had the record we had
Right.
for Nick Foles to be there.
Right.
So like I have to credit Bo Nix with the Super Bowl, even though Jarrett Stidham also would get them there.
Right.
With the Patriots, I'm tired of them. Like let me speak for everybody. Nobody wants to see the Patriots win the Super Bowl.
No, they don't.
So I love Drake May. Love Drake May. I think the dude is awesome. Mike Vrabel, always been a big fan of him.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of a lot of the players on the Patriots. If honestly, if you took the entire team, threw them on like the Texans or the Bills or something, I would feel more positive about
Right.
them.
Right.
But because they're on the Patriots, no thanks. I'm tired, and the Patriots fan I work with is like, oh, I haven't been to a parade in so long. I'm
Oh
like,
my
oh
God.
yeah,
Oh
I'm
wow.
sure
Oh,
I'm sure it's so hard
so
being
hard
a
for you.
Boston sports
Oh
fan. You
wow.
know exactly who you are. Um,
Ha!
so um, uh, and then on yeah, Seahawks and Rams. I don't want to see Sam Darnold in the Super
I
Bowl.
think you're gonna.
I think this Seahawks team is incredible.
Yeah.
I just I it's funny if you look at like historically what would happen if Stafford got another ring. Stafford's probably going to win MVP. Drake May still has a chance,
Hmm.
but I'd say that it's like a 65-35 chance that
Yep.
between Stafford and May.
Yep.
Um, I think May's been more valuable
Hmm.
than Stafford, but I think Stafford's been the better player
Hmm.
than May. So in my opinion, if you ask me who the most valuable player in the league between the two of them is, I'm going to say Drake May. But if you ask me who do I think is going to win MVP, it's probably going to be Stafford.
Okay.
Um, so Stafford, if Stafford gets a ring and an MVP, he's going to shoot up the all time ranks in
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He's gonna suddenly it's like, all right, he's going to the Hall of Fame. It's a matter of when.
Yeah.
Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Who
Yeah.
knows? I don't think so, because they've been really stingy on first ballot Hall of Famers. So I'm gonna say no. Um,
Two-time Super Bowl and an MVP. You don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer? That's interesting.
it's because he doesn't have many accolades. He doesn't have the Pro Bowls. He doesn't lead the league in yards or touchdowns too many times,
Where is he
but
in
he's
passing now?
doing that. He's top. I think he's entered the top 10. I
Okay.
think he's at the end of the top 10. He's statistically a Hall of Famer before he got the Super Bowl ring. He added the Super Bowl ring. It's like, okay, he's probably a Hall of Famer. Um, Now he adds an MVP. Even if he adds an MVP, I'd say he's a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
Um, but then you look at Drake May, stereotypical young quarterback getting first Super Bowl ring. If he gets his first Super Bowl ring, it's like it's similar to how looking at like Patrick Mahomes getting his first ring,
Hmm.
similar to Jalen Hurts getting his first ring,
Hmm.
similar to Ben Roethlisberger getting his first ring, Russell Wilson getting his first ring. From here on, it's like okay, you just need to have longevity, have
Right.
a good career. This was the hardest test you needed.
Right.
Um, if Jarrett Stidham wins a ring, we have a lot of backup quarterbacks who have won. won championships throughout NFL history. So he's not gonna be the first one. And I like so for me historically, what's gonna be more impactful is if Sam Darnold somehow gets a Super Bowl ring. I have no idea where to view him historically.
Hmm.
Like because he was a bust, and I'm talking an awful quarterback with the Jets and Panthers. And then the last 2 years, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league over the last 2 years.
Hmm. Hmm.
And like the argument last year was like, oh, Sam Darnold didn't show up in the big game. And if he goes and wins the Super Bowl the next year, I'm like, I am more concerned with how my brain's gonna process if Sam Darnold wins a ring than Jarrett Stidham. Sam Darnold is better than Jarrett Stidham.
Hmm.
It's just I have no idea how to view Sam Darnold's career
Maybe
from
he
a
figured it
historical
out.
perspective.
Maybe he figured it out. Maybe he
Yeah,
figured it out, and maybe he is aligned with a system that works for him, right? But I
and
agree. I mean, it is going to be because let's extrapolate. Let's say he does win, and Kubiak leaves the next year,
mhm,
and he doesn't do as great. Well, then you got, well, was it Kubiak or was it Sam?
exactly. And I like Clint Kubiak. I think he's gonna be I think he's gonna be a great head coach. I actually wanted him to be the Saints head coach last year.
Mm,
Um, like I thought that highly of Clint Kubiak, and I hated that he had to go. And I knew he was gonna be a head coach. He's gonna be a head coach this year. And I'm looking forward to wherever he ends up going. Um, so I Darnold, it's I guess there's one player that probably comes to mind. Let's say if Sam Darnold were to go on and have like a Hall of Fame career for
hmm.
the rest of his career, he's still young. He's
Yeah,
still got a lot of time left. I think
yeah.
he's what 28.
Hmm.
Like he could play another 10 years. Um, if Sam Darnold goes on to have this Hall of Fame career, I mean, he's gonna be looked at as like kind of like George Blanda. Maybe not longevity wise, but George Blanda started off awful.
Hmm.
He was a bad
Play
quarterback,
for the
and
Raiders, right? Did he play for the Raiders?
he played with the Raiders later in his career. He started off with the Bears, then he went to the Oilers in the AFL. When he went to the AFL, he became one of the best players in all of football,
Okay,
in the NFL and the AFL.
okay.
He led them to back-to-back championship games. And I mean, yeah, he was the best quarterback in the league. And then went to the Raiders, played a little bit,
Mm.
transitioned to more of a kicker, and then played a couple series as quarterback. That's why he played at the age of 47. Um, but it took him a while, but like he had to go to the Oilers for him to find success.
Figure it out. Yeah.
And also another quarterback, Sonny Jurgensen, he backed up Norm Van Brocklin with the Eagles
Yep.
when the Eagles won the championship in 1960.
Yep.
But he was a backup, and he played for the Eagles, and he was okay. But then he goes to the at the time Washington Redskins, and he has the Hall of Fame career. So very similar to those two quarterbacks in terms of trajectory.
Hmm.
Um, but in my opinion, this would be the best comeback of the two of them because it's such a longer time frame. Like Sam Darnold was a backup quarterback for years,
Hmm.
and if he continues this trajectory, I mean, yeah, the sky's the limit for him. But if he wins the Super Bowl, if let's say if he does wins the Super Bowl this year, does nothing for the rest of his career, I have no idea what to even think about him at
Hmm.
all.
Yeah. It's gonna. Well, you know what? And from that perspective, it's gonna be very interesting. Now, personally, I don't think anybody's beating the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to steamroll the Rams, and I think they are going to open up a can of whoop ass on whoever they play in the Super Bowl. I think the Seahawks are a well coached machine, and the two facets of the team, they play great complementary football.
Yes.
So the defense is stingy. They don't give you anything. And the offense, if they can't figure it out at first, they're going to go in at halftime. They're going to figure you out. And once
Hmm.
they do, and that big Muhammad starts to choke you, you're not going to get out of that because It's 3-0, then it's 10-0, then it's 17-0, and then at that point, that defense still isn't giving it anything, and then people get desperate and they make mistakes, and then before you know it, it's 24-0, it's 31-0, and you don't even understand how it happened. Like that to me is the mark of a good team is that they hit you with so many things. You look up and it's 31-0, and the stats aren't that bad. They just didn't give you anything on defense, and the offense is very opportunistic.
Yeah.
But I don't. To me, this is an 800-pound gorilla. Nobody's beating the Sea, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
I think that whoever I think the Super Bowl is clearly going to come out of the NFC. I
Oh,
think
without a
whoever
doubt.
wins
Yeah,
I think whoever wins is probably going to destroy whoever they end up playing between the Patriots and Broncos.
yeah,
And that's why I think the Broncos probably have the best chance if Jarrett Stidham just plays solid
right.
because the Broncos defense is very
It
good.
it's
But
spectacular.
the Seahawks and Rams they're able to beat you in every single way. Um,
Hmm.
the the main issue is can Sam Darnold not turn the ball over, and can the Rams secondary just hold up?
Well,
That's going to be the two biggest things in that game.
McVay is going to have to come up with the game plan of his life. I mean, seriously, to beat Seattle. And if I'm him, I almost have two game plans. I've got maybe I have three or four. I've got one, maybe two for the first half,
Mhm.
and I definitely have a second one. Because one thing about Seattle, Seattle does a great job of adjusting at halftime. So you almost have to go into it with an understanding of we're going to show you some stuff we didn't show you in the second half. And that way you won't be able to prepare for it. Because that's the only way if you don't do that, you're not going to beat them. You're just
Yeah.
not. In my opinion. Again, what do I know? But hey man, should be a great game. Looking forward to it. To those of you who did join us, we appreciate you. You can see me at For My ATL Sports One. You can see me here at For My ATL Movies One, along with my guy Jordan. And hey man, thank God for those of you who did join. We appreciate you. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be with us, and thank God for waking us up to this morning and tomorrow, and keeping everybody safe through the winter storm. And last but not least, man, you guys have an amazing day. And Jordan and I will see you next week. Good night, everybody. If I can hit this button, here we go.